Good morning. In previous lecture, we discussed about that is data control language, and there are two statements, that is grant and revoke. In last lecture, we talked about what grant can do. So it is used to give the permission to the other user, and revoke is used to get back the permission that is granted to the particular user. So there are two particular statements, grant and revoke. Using grant, we can grant the table level privilege as well as system level privilege. Now the question is, what are the table level privilege and what are the system level privilege? For example, if you are giving grant to person that to access the table, that particular privilege is known as a table level privilege. So you can say that the table level privilege is action on the objects. For example, if you are granting a privilege on table, view, synonym, procedure, then it is known as a table level privilege. So this type of privilege are granted on objects. Now what is object? Object is table, view, right? Procedure, synonym, like this. So if you are giving grants on particular table, that is to insert into table, update the table, delete from the table, and select the data from the table, then that type of privilege is known as a table level privilege. Now what is system level privilege? Generally what happen, the system level privilege are granted by the DBA. So these are the privilege, that is these are normally granted by DBA. So these are normally granted by the DBA. These privileges are what? That is to create something or destroy something. For example, if you are giving a grant that create the user, create the table, create the procedure, then that type of privilege is known as a system level privilege. Let me show you the same thing. For example, let me connect as a sysdba. So I'm just connecting with the sys as sysdba. I'm entering my password and now I'm pressing an enter. See, which is this user? This user is a sys. Now I want to grant particular system level privilege to other person. For example, I have one more person over here, that the user that we created in the previous lecture, and the user was Kuldev, right? And the password was lion. So I'm just connected with the login, that is using the username Kuldev. Now this user is Kuldev. Now I want to check which are the system level privilege the Kuldeep have. So here you can just describe the table, that is user underscore sys underscore privilege. So it will give you the privilege list that is owned by this particular user, and that user is Kuldeep. So select privilege from user sys privilege. So you will be able to see that I need to just write here privilege, right? So these are the privilege, that is create session, create table, unlimited table space available with the Kuldeep. Now I want to grant other system level privilege. For example, I want to grant that Kuldeep can create the procedure also. Kuldeep can create the trigger also. Create view to Kuldeep. Yes. Grant is succeeded. So I just granted the procedure, trigger and view to Kuldeep. Now Kuldeep want to check which are the privilege that I have. So Kuldeep can write select privilege from user sys privilege. So these are the privilege that is Kuldeep have. There are 6 privilege Kuldeep have. So you can say that these 6 privilege are the system level privilege. Now Kuldeep want to check which are the table level privilege that Kuldeep have. So Kuldeep can write here like this, the same query, just need to change the name of the table, that user tab privilege. So there are no table level privilege access Kuldeep have. So I want to grant the table level privilege to the Kuldeep. So which are the table level privilege? Table level privilege might be insert, update, delete and select. So on which table you want to grant, right? So either owner or DBA can grant the rights, that is table level or system level, whatever it is. So you can grant, that is insert, update, delete, and suppose if you think that I don't want to grant delete rights, I just want to grant a select rights, select privilege, then you can write grant, insert, update, select. On which table? So I'm just writing here squat.employee. It means on squat employee table, I'm just giving the rights to which user, and the user is Kuldeep. See, grant is succeeded, and as a result, suppose if you fire the same query again, now you will be able to see that the insert, update and select, there are three privileges the Kuldeep have. Earlier it was not. So you can say that this particular line is, you can say, table level privilege, and these are the system level privilege. System level privilege are given by the DBA. Normally it happens. Suppose if you think that, sir, I want to take back the permission, so you can take back all, or you can take back a particular permission. For example, if you think that, sir, I want to give the insert and select, but I don't want to give the update privilege, then you can write revoke update on squad.employee from Kuldeep. So what happened? This particular rights will be revoked from the Kuldeep login. So you can just show the user Kuldeep and you can fire the query. Earlier the rights was select, insert and update. Now only two rights the Kuldeep have, and that is update. Suppose if you think that, sir, I want to revoke insert and select also, then you can write multiple comma separated privilege also here, that is on squad.employee from which user, the user is Kuldeep. So no rows is selected over here. Now Kuldeep have no privilege on table level, but the Kuldeep has the rights for system level privilege. For example, the system level privileges are this. Now suppose if you think that, sir, I want to get back the privilege that is system level also, then you can simply write revoke. Now which privilege you want to get back? So I'm just writing here revoke, create view, create trigger from Kuldeep. So this particular privilege will be written back. And now Kuldeep has no sixth privilege, but only four privilege with the Kuldeep have. And that is create session, create procedure, create any table, and unlimited table space. Now here you can look carefully over here. Then this is the system level grant. This is the table level grant. This is the table level revoke. This is the table level revoke, and this is the system level revoke. So basically there are two types of privilege. One is the system level privilege and another one is the table level privilege. This table level privilege is granted on the object. Object can be table, view, procedure like this. And these are the granted on, that is by the DBA. One more thing, that suppose if you think that, sir, I want to retrieve the list of the table level privilege, then the table is user tab previews. So using user tab previews, you can get the detail of the table level privilege, and using user tab user sys previews table, you can get the detail of the system level privilege. What is the syntax? Very simple. Grant what are the privileges. So list of the privileges on particular table. So you can write here on object name to which user you want to grant. So to user name. This is the simple syntax of table level privilege. Now what is the system level privilege? Very simple. Grant list of privileges. Now we will not write on object name. We will directly write the to which user you want to grant. So you can write the username. If you want to give an example over here, then the example is already with us, that is grant. For example, insert, update, delete on which table, for example, employee, to which user, for example, Kuldeep. So this is the table level grant. And suppose if you want to grant a system level, then you can write grant create trigger, create view, two. Now note on table on object name close is available in system level. So you can directly write grant create trigger create view to which user, and the user is Kuldeep. So this is the basic difference between table level privilege and system level privilege. Generally what happens, system level privilege allow the user to manage the database and server, and table level privilege allows the user to perform the certain action on the table. So what happened, system level privilege is used for the managing the system. So you can say that it is used to manage the database and server, and table level privilege is used to manage the table, right? So this is the basic difference between table level privilege and system level privilege. Now suppose if you think that, sir, can I grant the multiple privilege to particular user? Can I create one role and that role I want to give to the particular user? Can I do this? Yes, you can. Suppose if you think that I want to create a role, then what is a role? Role means you can create the role which is, it is a collection of privileges. It means it contains what? It contains the more than one privilege in one role. For example, let me give you the wonderful example for the same. See, where we can create the role? We can create the role in the DBA login. So, which user this is? This user is sysdba. Now I want to create a simple role. That is two role I want to create. One is create role programmer. So role is what? The role is programmer. Another role I want to create, and the role is data entry operator, right? So I created the two role. One role is programmer, another role is data entry operator. Now there are no privileges available in this particular role. Now I want to grant a privilege to this particular role. So what is the wonderful benefit? You can store multiple privileges in one role, and then you can assign simple role to the user. So I'm writing here, that is grant, that is create procedure, create trigger, create view to programmer. So programmer is a one role. So you can say that the programmer is a one folder which contains the more than one files. So one programmer is one role which contains the more than one privilege, and the privileges are create procedure, create trigger, and create view. Now, can I grant this particular role to other user? Yes, we can. So you can simply write what? See, this user, and this user is, we all know, this user is Kuldeep, right? Now, I want to grant this programmer role to Kuldeep. So what will be the functionality that Kuldeep have? So Kuldeep want to check that which are the role and which are the privileges I have. So Kuldeep will write query what? That will be described. That will be role sys prims. So which are the privileges and which are the role that access that Kuldeep have. So you can write the query, select privilege, comma role from role sys prims. So here you can check that there is no role assigned to Kuldeep, right? So now here you can simply assign a role, that is a grant programmer to Kuldeep. So Kuldeep will become now programmer, and what is the biggest benefit that the Kuldeep can do? Create view, create trigger, and create procedure. Now, later on, suppose if you think that I don't want to give this particular rights to every programmer, so you can simply revoke back from the role and it will be affected to the all the user. Let me give you a wonderful example. See, suppose I am writing here that is another login, and the login is, for example, Parag. So I'm just log in with the user, that is Parag. Is Parag having the rights of programmer role? No, Parag don't have the rights of the programmer role. That is, for example, if I'm select privilege, comma role from user from role sys privs where role is equal to programmer. So there is no role given to the Parag, right? Now what happens? See, here you can simply write grant programmer to Kuldev, comma Parag even you can write, or you can grant separately programmer to the Parag, and as a result, whenever you write the same query, you will get the result that the Parag has the rights for the create view, create trigger, and create procedure. Same rights is available with the Kuldev. Now, what is the biggest benefit? See, suppose if you are revoking, that is revoke, create view from programmer. So it will affect to all the programmers available in the system. So how many programmers are there? There are two programmers. One is Kuldeep, another one is Parag, and here you can check. See, this is the Parag's login. Parag has only two rights: create trigger and create procedure. Now Parag has no rights for creating a view. And if you write the same query again over here in Kuldeep login, you will be able to see that Kuldeep has only two rights, that is create trigger and create procedure. This is the wonderful benefit of creating a role. You can create the role, then you can assign a privilege to the role, and then you can grant that particular role to the user. Now whenever you revoke any privilege from your role, or even if you grant any privilege to the role, then it will be effect to the all the person who has this particular role. This is the wonderful functionality. For example, if you are writing that the grant, and I'm writing here that grant create sequence, grant create sequence to programmer. Now this create sequence right will be available with both the user. One is Kuldeep, yes, create sequence is there. Another is Parag, yes, create sequence is there. It means that you can directly deal with the particular role, and that role is applicable to all the users connected with this particular role. Now if you look carefully over here, then what I did, I created the role programmer in which I granted the system level privilege, and that particular role I granted to the two users. So as a result, whenever I revoke any privilege from the role, or I grant any privileges to the role, then it will affect to all the persons who have this particular role. But I given the example of role with the system level privilege. Now I want to give the example of the role with the table level privilege, and that is I have one more role, and the role is data entry operator. Now I want to give a rights on data entry operator, that is a table level privileges I want to grant on this particular role. So you all knows that, for example, if I'm writing the query over here, that is which user is this user is Kuldev. Suppose if I am writing that is select the privilege comma role from role tab privs. So what happened, whenever you write role tab privs, then it will give you information about the table level privilege. Whenever you write role sys privs, then it will give you information about the system level privileges. So even in a role you have a two category: role with the table level privileges, role with the system level privileges, right? Same query you can write in the login of Parag also. So this is the user, this user is Parag. Now I'm writing the query over here, that is select privileges, comma role from role tab privs, right? Where role is equal to, and then what is the name of the role? So name of the role is, that is data entry operator. So we all know that there is no any privileges granted to this particular role, and even this role is not granted to any user. Now what is the wonderful benefit over here? See, whenever you write over here, that is grant, insert, select, update, delete on Scott.employee to data entry operator. So data entry operator is my role, and the role having the privileges, that is insert, update, delete on Scott.employee. Right now I'm writing that grant data entry operator role. So this is the role, that is data entry operator, to which user? Parag, comma Kuldeep. So now Kuldeep and Parag both having the rights of data entry, and as a result, whenever you write the query over here in the login of Kuldeep, that select privileges, comma role from role tab previews, Kuldeep have the four privilege, that is insert, select, update and delete, and that is the role is the data entry operator. And suppose if you are writing the same query in the login of Parag, right? So this is the login of Parag. If I'm simply writing a slash, then the previous query will be executed. And here you can see that the data entry operator, that is the role, is granted to this two user, that is Kuldeep and Parag. Now what is the wonderful thing? Wonderful thing is you don't need to revoke from the user, you just need to revoke from the role. So you can simply write here revoke delete on Scott.employee from data entry operator. So what happened in this particular case, the delete rights will be revoked from all the data entry operator, and as a result, whenever you write the query over here in the Kuldeep login, no delete privileges is there. And suppose if you write the same in the login of Parag, then there is no delete privileges available in the Parag user. It means that you don't need to retrieve back the privileges from the individual from the user. You can directly revoke from the role, and it will affect to the all the users who have this particular role. Now suppose if you think that, sir, can is this thing is possible that I want to make my table is public, or I want to make that the this particular privilege to the public, it means all the users. First question is, can I get the list of the users? How many users are there and which are the users? Yes, you can. But you can do the same thing in only one user, that is sys. Sys have the rights to access the table, that is DBA underscore users. So how many users are there? That list is available in DBA underscore users. So whenever you write like this, select username from DBA underscore users, then you will be able to see that there are 58 users available in my database. Out of this 58 users here, you will be able to see that the Parag is there, Deepak is there, Raj is there, AU exercise is there, PCS is there, Pawan is there, Squat is there, GTU is there, even Kuldeep is the user, Mitesh is the user, Ankit is the user, Devang, Prerak, Pradeep, AU 2020. So many users I had created in my database. So which are the users? That suppose if you think that select users name, then all the users will be available over here. Now the question is, can I grant that the select privileges on that is employee table to all these users, that is 58 users? Yes, you can. How we can do this? Let me, for that, I want to open all different tables. For example, I am writing here that is so user is Kuldeep. Let me open here, which is the user is Parag. Now Parag is writing that select star from AU 2020 dot student. So Parag has no rights to access this. Even Kuldeep is trying to do this. Select star from AU 2020 dot student. Definitely Kuldeep has no rights to do this. Now another one user is there into the picture and the username is HR. So HR is the user. Now HR is writing the same query that select star from AU 2020 dot student. That is the error is that is table or view does not exist. Now, why this thing is happening, right? So if you are writing like this, then what happens? See, I had not given this particular rights. So whenever you write like this, that is AU 2020 dot student, I am writing here AU 2020 dot student. I have no rights to do this. Why? Because the rights on select statement is not given to these three users. But I don't want to give individual rights. I want to give the rights to all the users in the system. Can I? Yes, you can. You can write grant select on who can do this. There are two users can do this, either AU 2020, either AU 2020 itself and DBA can grant this, right? So grant select on AU 2020 dot student to public. So whenever you write public, what happens, students? Whenever you write public, it means it's a public access. So anybody can access this. Anybody can access this. And the third one is this, anybody can access this. It means everybody in this particular database, there are 58 users, all can access this. That is select, right? Suppose if you want to revoke back the same, then you can write revoke select on AU 2020 dot student from public, then this particular rights will be revoked back, and as a result if you write the slash, then the previous query will not be executed over here. If you write the slash, then the previous query will not be executed over here. If you write the slash, then the previous query will not be executed over here. The concept is what you can grant publicly access, and even you can grant, even you can revoke the public access also. So this is, you can say that the table level grant to the public. Can I grant the system level to the public? For example, can I write like this? Grant create view to public. Suppose if you are writing grant create view to public, it means everybody having the rights, that is to create the view, right? So whenever you write like this, grant create view to the public, it means all the users have this particular rights, that is grant, that is the create view. But if you write like this, revoke create view from public, then it will simply revoke back the same. So we can use the grant and revoke to the public, that is at table level. Even we can revoke the table level. Even we can grant the system level to the public. Even we can revoke back the system level to from the public. And even you can grant with the admin option. So and with the grant option. So what happens whenever you write with the grant option, it means that user can also grant the same rule to the other, same rights to the other people. So that fundamental is known as a, that is with grant option. So this is all about a grant and revoke.